Going on? It's your boy Mr. Body coming to you live. Conversation with Mr. Body here on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, right? And so what is today? Today is Wellness Wednesday, Workout Wednesday, Warrior Wednesday, Hump Day, whatever you want your Wednesday to be, that's what it's going to be, right? And so on today, what we're going to be talking about is, listen, that workout variation. Like, are you varying your workouts? Or are you the type of person that consistently does the same thing every time you work out on a specific day, week to week to week to week, months down the line, right? You're still doing the same thing. And I'm here to share with you, like, there is not anything necessarily wrong with that because you are getting in your workouts. But what's happening when it comes to your new results, right, is you might find yourself after a certain number of weeks or after a certain number of months where you're not really seeing the results that you once were seeing in the beginning, right? Whether it's in your ability to increase your weight, whether it's in your ability to increase your rest, whether it's in your ability to, recover faster, whether it's in your ability to, see the results, see the changes in your body, whether it's there's so many different things that might happen in the beginning when you're doing that routine. What happens when you start to do it for a long period of time is that two things, right? Your body adapts to whatever you're doing. And so when you're doing the repetition and the consistency of the same thing, your body adapts to that. And it no longer really produces the results that you were seeing because it's like, well, hey, I'm used to this, right? You want to think of it like, you're in a math class. And in math class, like we learned, addition and subtraction, and then we got to multiplication and division, right? And so if you only learned addition and subtraction and you weren't learning the other things, right? Eventually it's like, well, okay, I'm not really sure of these things, or I'm not growing this area of my mind. I'm not expanding this area of my knowledge when it comes to math because all I'm doing is addition and subtraction. Same thing when it comes to your body, right? And so if you're only doing a certain type of workout, whether it's just doing cardio, whether it's just doing dumbbells, whether it's just doing a specific type of boot camp class or some kind of class, right? You're going to get stuck in a certain space after a certain amount of time. Here's something else that you may not know, right? When it comes to your strength training, your body, right, has different muscle fibers. And so each exercise only works certain muscle fibers. And so if you're not seeing certain results, or you're like, I don't understand why this isn't developing this way, right? That's probably because you're not hitting those muscle fibers. Here's an example for you, right? Have you ever worked out with somebody that you've never worked out with before, and they had you doing exercises or movements that you've never done? And after that workout was done, you started feeling soreness in places that you've never felt soreness before, right? Drop a 2 in the comment box if you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you ever work out with that person, or you'd see something, on social media or on YouTube or whatever, and you're like, that looks interesting, let me try it. And it's something far off of what you're normally used to doing. And then the next day or the day after, you are sore in places that you've never been sore. Why? Because that different exercise hit different muscle fibers that you're not used to working based on the limitations that you've put in the exercises that you're doing, right? And so you got to start to do different exercises. Listen, it's as simple as changing your hand placement, changing the angle, changing the position of your body, right? Those are some simple changes that will attack different muscle fibers. Listen, right? I'm going to use pull-ups as an example. Pull-ups, you can have your hands like this. You can have your hands like this. You can have your hands like this, right? That's 3 different variations. I promise you that you won't be able to do the same amount of reps for each variation if you're not used to doing them. Whichever variation you do the most, that is the one that you're going to get the most reps. Once you change the angle, once you change the variation, in this instance, it's the hand placement, it's going to change the ball game because you're going to be working different muscle fibers, right? Same goes for push-ups. When you're doing your push-ups, if you're used to doing your push-ups with your hands just about this far apart, I promise you, if you go to doing some diamond push-ups, you're not going to get the same amount. I promise if you put your hands all the way wide like this, you're not going to get the same amount. Why? Because it's a the same exercise, but it's working different muscle fibers, right? And so the reason that you see different fitness folks, or even people who are working with some fitness experts, right, that are getting some crazy results, it's because they have so much variation that they're attacking all of the different muscle fibers and working all of the different muscle fibers in their body, so they're producing better results. If you want to see better results, you got to start working all the muscle fibers in that particular muscle group. How do you do that? By changing your hand placement, by changing the angles, right? When you're doing your bench press, right? You got flat bench, you got incline, and with your incline, you got different degrees of incline. Each different degree of incline is going to work different muscle fibers. Then you can start even moving your hands closer or wider, right? There's just so many different ways of creating changes. When we're talking about some lunges, right? Guess what? When you can lunge, you can do a forward lunge. You're working different muscles when you do a backward lunge. It's not the same, right? If you do a side lunge, it's not the same. If you do a 45-degree angle lunge, it's not the same. Those are all different exercises, even though it's still a lunge. So you got to start doing that. If you're used to doing the same exercises, having the same hand placement, the same angles and stuff like that, and your results are a little bit rusty, they're a little bit in the lack area, guess what? Do yourself a favor and start adjusting, right? And doing different things. I promise you'll start to get some better results towards your goals and break through a plateau that you might be struggling with, right? And so that is your goal and tips of the day, is to just start doing different exercises that you've never done, and using the same exercise that you're doing currently, but changing your hand placement, changing the angle, and all of that, even changing the speed will vary how you feel and the results you produce, okay? It's your boy, Mr. Body. If you got some value in this video, feel free to hit the share button, tag somebody that needs to hear this message, invite somebody to come and watch this video so that they can get the same results that you are about to get, all right?